So I'm in trainer Martin today.
Nice to meet you, Martin.
Nice to meet you too. This is my car.
Oh, this is not an M car. What is this?
Oh yeah, this is actually my green car. Please come over. What's up guys? It's Martin again. So last time I talked about my journey from a trainer to software engineer in 5 months. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, it's right here. And many of you have messaged me about how I got my green card as a personal trainer. So today I am going to cover this topic. I filmed the video and realized it's too long, so I'm going to split the content into 2 episodes. And the first one is this one, which I will be briefly going over some background knowledge of OPT, the dilemma of non-STEM international students, and some harsh realities. If you are already familiar with this topic, feel free to skip this one and go to the second one, which I will be talking about my 6-month-long battle of getting my green card. And let's get started. So in 2015, I came to New York City to pursue a master's degree in applied physiology, aka kinesiology, or let's just say sports science. I studied at Teachers College, Columbia University from 2015 to 2017. You may ask, what? Sports science? Yeah, you heard it right, sports science. It's definitely not a common major for international students, and most important of all, it's a non-STEM program, which is the topic of today's video. In my opinion, there are 4 major disadvantages. The first one being only 1 year of OPT. So what is the OPT? It's optional practical training. Basically, it's the temporarily working visa for international students. So for STEM programs, which refers to science, technology, engineering, and math, they usually have 3 years of OPT. So after graduating, students would have 3 years to work in the United States. 3 years is a long time, and it's enough to prove their value to the employer. And if the employer is willing to sponsor H-1B working visa, it gives them another 6 years. 6 years. Filing an H-1B application usually costs at least $3,000 US in legal and government fees combined. And it's lottery based, which means this money could be wasted if the H-1B application did not get selected. However, with 3 years of OPT, you can enter the lottery every year. And most likely, you will eventually win the lottery because it's a little bit over 50% of chance to be selected each year. The chance of not being selected 3 years in a row is actually less than 10%. That's why STEM students are much easier to stay in the United States because they simply have more time to prove themselves and they have more chances to be entered into the lottery. However, for non-STEM related programs like mine, or something like marketing, education, design, and art, we only get 1 year of OPT. You may ask, what's wrong with 1 year of OPT? Well, that still doesn't sound too bad, right? Imagine if you were an employer and someone comes for an interview saying something like, I can only legally work for 1 year and afterwards I'll need you to sponsor my working visa. Are you going to hire this person knowing that there is about 50% possibility of losing all the time and resources you invested in training this employee if he or she did not win the working visa? There's a different way that almost guarantees success, which is directly applying for an employment-based immigration, aka the green card. But this usually costs at least $20,000 for an employer, and there are a lot more requirements needed for a company to be able to sponsor someone a green card. Besides that, compared to H-1B, which restricts the employee to only work for one employer, green card holders are basically free man. Once a green card is issued, the employee is free to work for anyone in any industry. That's the reason why most employers would not go for green card route in the beginning, because green card is more expensive and they would lose control over these employees after they become a green card holder. Alright, this is not a legal video, so I'm going to stop here. To summarize, with all of these concerns, if I were an employer, knowing that this interviewee only has 1 year of OPT, I would definitely prioritize hiring someone from the United States, so I don't need to worry about these bullshits. And if I had ever need to sponsor a visa, I would go with H-1B instead of green card because not only it's cheaper, but also almost guarantees that this employee is going to work for me for the next 6 years. So why not? The second thing is, of course, the almighty money. The harsh truth is, non-STEM jobs are just not high-paying jobs. Based on Glassdoor, in New York City, personal trainers usually earn around 36 to 100K. Marketing, education, design, and arts are all within the same range. Considering the tuition and living expenses, studying these programs in New York City is definitely not making sense from a financial perspective. I was awarded 2 scholarships totaling about 25 grand from Columbia University, but it still cost me around 100K in total during my 2 years of study. You may argue that New York City is the most expensive city to live in, and in other cities it wouldn't cost that much. But the average income in New York City is also the highest too. Anyway, I would say it at least needs 5 years of full-time working and very disciplined saving to break even with how much you invested on your degree. Totally not making sense from a financial perspective. The third thing is language and cultural barriers leading to lack of opportunities. Usually, non-STEM jobs requires employees to communicate well and vibe with your coworkers. This is honestly quite hard for non-native speakers because we just don't have the same language and cultural background. In fitness industry, you need to be someone who is easy to hang out with. Some clients are spending more time with you than their families, so you have to be likable, approachable, and charismatic. Okay, all I want to say is language and cultural barriers definitely have negative impacts on our ability to build rapport with people or promote ourselves and being recognized as high performers, which eventually leads to less income, less value to the employer, thus less opportunity to be sponsored at visa. Lastly, in most countries, especially in Asia, most parents value only certain industries. I was born and raised in Taiwan, and over there, lots of people's lives are directed by their parents. And most parents hope their kids to one day become either engineers, physicians, hedge fund managers, and so on. Most people have the stereotype of only people who are not good academically do sports stuff. I remember back in those days when I told people I'm going to overseas to study sports science, some people were like, "What the fuck, man? Why are you studying that shit?" I know some elder people even said something like, "You studied at National Taiwan University and you're going to Columbia University to become a what? A trainer? What are you doing there?" To me, it's funny but very sad at the same time that most people around me don't consider sports-related career as a good option. But I'm still grateful that my parents, they respect what I want to do in my life and they are always being super supportive. Okay, so these are the major reasons why I think it's hard for non-STEM students to work and stay in the United States in the long term. Do you think of any? Comment down below and let's have a discussion. So in the next video, I'm going to share how I overcame these obstacles and eventually got my green card. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. It means a lot to me. And until next time.